I am here with Jasmine Jasudavicius fighting Tracy Cortez at Noche UFC on September 16th. Obviously a big fight that we're going to talk about, but I want to go back to Vancouver, of course. UFC 289, the big return in Canada. Big night for the Canadian fighters. You swept the board. Fantastic experience. Can you sum that up for us, just overall what the experience was like for you?
Man, that was incredible. It was like it. I can't even put it into words. It was like just the perfect situation, the perfect story. You could like feel the energy as soon as you got into the fighter hotel, and yeah, all like the pieces fell into place, and it was an amazing like entire trip.
Well, it was a very, very cool night. There was no way I was missing that one. It was cool to get you in the post-fight press conference. And then you come out with the win over Miranda Maverick, and you jump into those top 15 rankings. And then a couple weeks later, you wind up knocked out of them, having not really fought. Was that a bit of a tease?
No, I don't even notice that stuff at all. Like I've got a fight coming up. I'm not looking. Oh, I'm in it. I'm not in. I don't really care.
Well, it feels like after this one, you're going to be back in it, but I guess that's just kind of how the rankings go. I wanted to ask, you've used the Stay Vicious hashtag for a while. Are you going with Vicious as the nickname? Because it almost feels like we could go with Queen of the North as well.
You know what? Everyone's been kind of like talking about a fight name for me, and I feel like something will just keep catching. Like I mean, Vicious kind of is like coming along, but like we'll see. I don't know. I think that's how the best part about a fight name is that it just kind of comes organically.
Gotcha. And I'm going to just branch off from that for a second. What is your favorite nickname in fighting? When you look at fighters historically, could be an old guy from back in the day, could be someone now, guy or girl. What's your favorite nickname?
Um, I like Dustin, like Diamond Poirier. I like that, like pressure makes diamonds. I like that nickname.
All right, Dustin Diamond Poirier. I like that one as well. I always go for the funny ones.
Yeah.
There's like Jordan I'm gonna win ski to throw out a real vague one there, a real unknown. I like stuff like that that makes me chuckle. Um, we've heard rumors of Atlantic Canada. We've heard rumors of Toronto. Obviously, you're fighting at something a little different here. The Noche UFC card in Las Vegas, which is going to celebrate Mexican Independence Day. And this card has taken a few hits. It's lost a few fights. Yours is staying together. I'm just curious, once you got to the UFC, was that still a concern for you? Because I know in the regional scene, fights fall apart all the time. Was it less of a concern once you got here? Is it something always in the back of your head?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of always in the back of your head. Like injuries happen. Everyone's training hard. Injuries happen. Things happen. But I don't know. I'm not like overly worried about it. If she pulls out, chances are somebody will jump in, and I'm not don't really think about it.
And obviously Tracy Cortez, big name. And I don't want to jinx anything, by the way, with the talk of stuff falling through, because you put the work in, of course. But a big name, big opportunity. She's ranked number 14 right now. What's your take on her as an opponent? And how have you gone about preparing for this one?
So yeah, she's like solid chick, well coached. But we're that's the thing. It's like we're preparing just like every other fight. Like we're sharpening all my tools and just going in there with the game plan to beat her up.
I mean, given she's been away for over a year now, how much emphasis do you put on her last couple of performances?
I mean, she only fights really like once a year, so I mean, it's not like everyone changes and everything, but I don't know.
Best to look at yourself in that case, I imagine, just focus on what you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of an interesting matchup, though. when you look at this, you've got the height advantage, you've got the reach advantage. Oddly enough, she did have that one bantamweight fight, but historically she's always been a flyweight. How big a factor for non-fighters, maybe you can give us the breakdown for us. How big a factor are the physical attributes like that in a fight like this?
I mean, I think they're huge. Like, it's a pretend our game plan and our style and everything is 100% equal across the board. The bigger person would more than likely win, right? So I don't know. I think it's good, but I think we're going to be pretty much the same size. We were definitely the same size on weigh-ins.
Well, yeah, there's no question about the weight. I think she might have missed weight once in the past, but I'm not expecting it. You've always made weight. Um, I did see somewhere that you did your full camp at Niagara Top Team. And I know some of the other guys, Aaron Jeffrey has gone down to Florida before to do some training. I know you've gone to the States as well to do some training in the past. What was kind of the thought process in keeping this camp at home?
So after the UFC came to Vancouver, I feel like it really like kind of like surged the MMA in Canada. And so from since after that fight, I've had like tons of people kind of like one either like pulling up their socks if they were like kind of on the fence dedicated, so like they're more in the gym and they're more consistent, everything like that. And then two, people that are like just within my community, like say within like 2 3 hours drive, kind of like reaching out and like, hey, I can help you out with this, hey, you're welcome to come spar here, blah blah blah, everything like that. So I feel like Canada's really like banding together, and I have like amazing training partners, and it's like it's very nice to be at home and to be able to be like a little bit, comfortable at home sleeping in my own bed, but still get that hard work from like kind of people that I don't really know, and I get those nerves and everything going with them. So it just made sense.
That's super cool. That's got to be a big reward because you were a big part of the UFC coming back to Canada. You and Mike called for it. I know it was probably in the works at some point. I think we've talked about that before, but I mean, you were such a big part of the public face of that. To get that kind of reward, to see that outcome, what was it like to just kind of experience that?
It was unbelievable. I feel like I never really thought of it, so thanks for make me feel good about that. But yeah, it really did, like having the UFC come here. It really did grow martial arts here, and I think if they come to Toronto, it will just be nuts.
I think it will be too. I want to talk about that just for a moment. I mentioned earlier, we heard Atlantic Canada, we've heard Toronto. Toronto rumored maybe January or February. You're fighting here mid-September. That's not a terrible, timing point for this. Would you want to get on that card, or would you want to try and sneak one more in this year?
I mean, ideally, I take no damage, and I'd be able to sneak one in. But if it's an option to wait for a Canada card and I got to wait another month or whatever, 100% I'll take that. But I mean, we'll see. I got this one to focus on first, and then we'll see what doors open up.
Absolutely. Before I go on to talk a little more about the Cortez fight, wanted to ask you, you did a top 5 female fighters of all time on your Twitter a couple of weeks ago. You had Joanna Jędrzejczyk #1, and I wanted to ask you what your thought process was in that pick. I think you had Nunes #2. Obviously, I think she'd be up there. Ronda was on there. What was the thought process for Joanna being #1? Not that I disagree.
Uh, you know, she was the title holder for so long. Like to be able to do that, and she was like kind of a bit of like a pioneer as well. You know what I mean? Like she carried the division for a long time and through a very like transitional stage. And she always was staying up to date with like the techniques, with her training and all that. And being in the industry, and like I know trying to like balance outside life and interviews and everything with fighting. And so for her to be able to do that, being the champ and like the pressure and all that, I think that, you know, she's the best. She's a goat.
When you look at that division, the strawweight division, do you think she increased the technical side of that? Do you think she kind of motivated people to level up? Because when you look at bantamweight, Rousey was dominant, then Nunez was dominant. When you look at strawweight, it was Joanna, Rose, Whaley, Carla Esparza got the belt back. The belt kind of passed around. It was such a close race there.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Now we've got another big fight coming up in your division as well. Same card. Alexa Grasso, Valentina Shevchenko. Can't look past this one. Who do you have in that fight?
I don't know. Every week I'm going back and forth. Like 1 week I'm on grass and 1 week I'm on Shevchenko. I don't know because I don't. But you know, if I gotta pick right now, I'm gonna go with grass. So, and they always say that once you like get the belt, then you get a little bit more of like a confidence that you should kind of already have because that's like what your skill set is. But so I think that she's gonna be like solid, and I think Shevchenko will have elevated her game as well. So I think it's gonna be a really good fight.
I've seen people say the key to victory for Shevchenko now is to play it safe. Don't throw anything crazy because that first fight, she was doing well until she winds up submitted. Do you kind of agree with that approach as well, or?
Yeah, 100%. Like, you know, exactly. Play it safe and you know get that win back. Kind of that should be. I think that'd be a good game plan.
And we'll come back to your own fight now. First of all, you are in Niagara Top Team right now. We got a view of the gym behind you. What do you use to motivate yourself during training, other than the fight itself? Do you have music or anything that kind of gets you going when you're in training camp?
I feel like the fight like is motivation alone. I don't know. I every day is different. I don't rely on anything to get me motivated. It's like, you know, the fight and getting to the belt and being the best in the world. Like that's what motivates me.
Do you have, I've heard people say they envision outcomes of fights. Some people have dream boards, that kind of thing. Do you have anything like that that kind of keeps you on that prize at the end, that belt?
Yeah, I mean, I'll do the visualization. I do all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I think it's just like, you know, getting it, doing the work, and you know, trying to be 1% better every day and being the best that you can be, and then showing up on fight night. But yeah, trying to do it all. If it makes 1% of a difference, then I'm gonna try to do it.
Well, people have told me over the years the mental game is half the fight. Um, Looking forward to this one. Going to be a fantastic fight. Tracy Cortez again, a big name, and the names get bigger and bigger as you go along. Obviously, Miranda Maverick, a well-known fighter from her Invicta days. She won the tournament there, came into the UFC hot. Tracy Cortez, albeit like you said, she's only really fought like once a year. She's winning, so that's the key. You've been known to call a name or two out at times. Is there anyone you have in mind after this, or would it be just somebody ranked, anybody ranked?
I don't think of anything past this fight. No days exist past the fight ahead of me, so I have no idea. We'll see what doors open up after.
The world ends on September 16th, so to speak.
Exactly.
All right. Before I let you go, Jasmine, give me a prediction for this fight if you've got one, and how do you see it playing out at Noche UFC?
I just see my hand being raised at the end of the fight.
Good stuff. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Big fight, big card, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, I don't want to jinx anything, back to Toronto or somewhere Eastern Canada this time. We did the West, now we got to do the East.
Yeah, I would love, you know, if it is Eastern Canada, it's always so awesome being out there anyways, but I'm hoping Toronto.
Good stuff. Yeah, I think it's got to be, if it's going to be a pay-per-view, you're going to do it in Toronto now. Best of luck in the fight, Jasmine. Thanks as always for the time. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much as always.
No problem. You have a great day. Take care.